Thank you for being written on the hearts of the bride. Thank you for the Hokodesh, the Spirit. So always give thanks and glory and lift up and edify. So come in here and have the discussion, share some gospel. There's only one true gospel, that's the unchanged, and that is the Hokodesh. It became flesh, the one that fulfilled these covenants of the Old Testament of flesh, so we're not bound by these Old Testament laws, the high priest, the Levitical priest of Levite, or the high priest of Aaron. So thank you for Spirit. It's a spiritual bride. It's written on fleshy tables. It's spiritual, so fleshy. He said don't sup on tables, so normally you eat at a table, right? So one bad apple will upset the whole apple cart. Do not judge them by their cover. You'll know them by their fruit. So do not condemn them. Judge with righteous judgment. So thank you for the Hokodesh. And then under this testament, he made there's a New Testament, right? New living will. Supposed to continue to march, if you will, right? Well, not you will, Father's will. He'll make you. He'll give you the strength, carry you, lift you, pick you up from beginning point, heal you over here. So that's the turn your cheek, meek. He said be meek, not weak. There's a difference between being meek and weak. People translate, they make up their own interpretation. They're interpreters or translators. They go after gods with three genders and one God. So they're Baphomet, Baal, Sun. So nothing new under the sun. People have done this. They're fairy tales, gods in the sky. That's why he divorced his bride Israel, because they were going after Baal, that's sun gods. Baphomet, the god with three genders and one God. Their God has breast. God's a title, but we'll just use it for tongues. Dialectus, glossa, for conversation's sake. So we won't not make our own interpretation, our own translation, go after transgender gods, especially gods in the sky. So sun gods, Baal, grove or tree like Moloch, owl. Remember Apollyon, the sun god, or birthed in the middle of the winter. So that is their god with three genders. So Mithra at the time of the Messiah, the one that was anointed, the one they hung, and when he paid the bride price, made a new covenant. Remember, it's a new living will. So the living, you're supposed to die to flesh, not physical. Remember, spiritual Hokodesh daily. So spiritual death. And be carried, lifted from beginning point to an ending point daily. Remember, meek, not weak. So and turn your cheek. He said 7 times 70. You need to do it by the number. Some people are more about numbers. Most people run when I do the math. So Father does it all by the number, the final trump. So the 7th shofar, the ram's horn. Father, the ram. They blow the ram's horn, right? So thank you, Father, for creating a flesh vessel to fulfill the laws of flesh. Fulfilled. He said they were fulfilled when they hung them. So I'm always thankful for that and give thanks to that. That he paid that price. He paid the bride price. They are his purchased possession. from the foundation of the world. Remember, Esau he hated. He killed his brother Moloch, as I said, Apollyon or Nimrod, and stole his inheritance. And this is all about an inheritance, right? About a wedding. You have to have a crown. He said, I come quickly like a thief in the night. So, are you burning bright? He said, be burning bright. Have your lamps trimmed and have extra oil. And have your loins, remember, faith without works is dead. Believing in me. Believe is an action word. It's not, faith is a noun. Believe is a verb. So you can't believe in God or Bigfoot. Aliens, how about that? Alien is a word. No such thing as aliens. Alien is a word. Aliens, foreign words, how about that? That's new mystery psychobabble. American, you can call it that. Not English, not formal anymore. It's watered down like the milk. He said, drink the milk, not watered down, and eat of the meat. So, got to read the book of Malachi. Tell you what to do then. So, but I'm thankful for that. I always give thanks and edify and lift up the word, because the word is Father. Father is where you go after you die, correct? Well, not until judgments. Well, judgment, the book of judgment. So, one final judgment. So, final trump. See? Father's not some Cheeto puff colored flesh dude here in a 58-story Babylonian tower in Babylon or Manhattan, but that's right. The Most High tried to build their towers to the sky, Sky Daddy, all their sky gods. Baphomet, Apollyon, they go to the sky. So I'm thankful for that. That Father gave me discernment not to translate. That doesn't say anywhere that God is a title, but that he's in the sky. God, Father's never been in the sky. Never. Even Old Testament, Father was not in the sky. Sky worship is Antichrist. Remember, he said, don't add a jot. Now they're living on it, I guess. Spinning planet. Planet is a word. Means wander. So, alien is a word. It means foreign. People make up their own interpretation. Remember, they're like puppeteers. They make up their own face, their own will, self-will. It's all idolatry is the Greek word, or porneia. Idolatry is the English word. My bad. See, my bad. There we go. There's another idiom. Is that an idiom, or it's kind of like a oxymoron, isn't it? Well, kind of backwards, or is that like reverse psychology? He said, you must be as esteemed as the potter's clay, turn their works upside down. So they flip everything. The woe to those who call good evil and evil good. So that's where we're at. We're in that parable, right? Or parallel. Hados is the narrow way. He said, I am the way. So idolatry is self-will, no free will. There's no such thing as free will. Free will is a man-made term, but doesn't exist. So if you're one of these free willers, you can, free ballers or whatever, you can take the man's nuts, grab and get him out of here. Well, ladies, they got a lot of, all right, never mind. Don't matter. Remember, we're equally yoked under this testament, under this covenant, under this new living will. So self-will is porneia. Idolatria. Latria is to serve, and ido is your eyeballs. Serve your eyes, the things you see, dirt, things that came from the dirt. Everything came from the dirt. Father doesn't want you to love the dirt. Father wants you to love the word. Father, the word became flesh. That is the Hokadesh. That is the Hamashiach. Like I said earlier, the Messiah, the one they hung from a tree. They hung people from trees. Romans were masters at torture. They hung crucifixion. He said we must be crucified, right? carry our cross. Nobody hung from crosses. They hung them from a tree. So people don't know what a cross is. And he tells us we need to have a cross and be carrying our cross. They don't have a cross, so they're not going to have a cross. They're not going to have a crown. And they're vessels of wrath fitted for destruction from the foundation of the world. So, yes, outstanding. Outstanding. I've had mine for 10 years. You will not be disappointed. Sitting right there in my lap. I don't advertise for something that I don't use. I don't get any royalties or like straight out of Compton. No, compensation. My bad. So, good for you, Scott. Hey, my filters, and I put them through the works because I drink a grit load of water. I always do, always have, because I don't drink soda or juice. I've got some juice now. I've been trying to get better at, but you got to be careful. The juice has so much corn syrup, extra added cane, like Cain and Abel, or like sugar cane in it. So, or beet. Be like Michael Jackson and beat it. Oh, beet sugar. That's not good for you. That's like cane sugar, corn syrup. That's what that is. So, all right, moving on. So good, outstanding. They work outstanding. And now it's not, again. Everybody has a different palate, but I have tried many and worked for Culligan and worked, in the industry, the water industry, and it's just the taste that I prefer. I grow custom, not that it has a heavy taste, but water really, they say, shouldn't have a taste, but good for you. Like I said, I worked the piss out of mine, got about 10 years out of my filters, and they still work top notch. I replaced them, and I put them in the replacement in the box of the ones that I bought. I didn't put them in that box and mark replacement filter, So, but they still work as good as new, and I worked them for 10 years. Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was just telling you about juice. All of them, they're disgusting. Nobody wants to flip their labels around. That's okay. Diet's everything. Get it, die. So, careful. Don't go too slow. Feeling like a dead battery, you might want to go fast. Well, no, not like fast in a car. And I'm not talking about fasting and giving any medical advice, because I don't need a strike for that. But so, actually, one speed, moderation. How about that? So, don't cut anything out of your diet, or you'll do what I did when I quit eating all sugar altogether. I mean, none of it. Cut it all out. What are you doing, puppy dog? What are you doing? Coming up here to say hi to the dad? Yeah, there's most everything. If you flip your labels around, even if it says it's juice, a lot of the time it has a lot of extra additive things like corn syrup. Okay, puppy dog. Okay, puppy dog. This is my bone. He's my best puppy ever. He's my best puppy ever. He's the best puppy that there ever was. We love him. He's being a good boy with the dad. He's knocking dad around. Careful. Over dad's back. Crush the vertebrae. So, anyways, but good for you. Diet's everything. Red dye, yellow dye. No, stay away from dyes, please. When you can, don't. It's not what goes in a man or a woman under this covenant. It's what comes out of the people that defiles the nations. So, but you are what you eat. No matter what, I'm going to give it to you straight. Make sure you're not getting it twisted. That Hebrew word is froward, and that means to warp. Don't get it warped in here. To twist or pervert. Don't be perverted, especially the word. You can't tell me eating all this stuff. Remember the old school. If you can't read it, don't eat it. What was in bread? Baking powder, flour, water. I mean, now it's it's a novel just to read, to eat your, uh, uh, yeah, well, it could be used as like an exfoliator, not in that sense, is like a natural with opening the pores and letting the skin cell. I don't know. I'm just taking this wild stab at it. I know because people have been taking milk baths and oatmeal and milk, and they use the oatmeal as an exfoliator as well. But I think it has a lot to do with our uh, skin cells. But I don't like milk. I stay away from milk as toxic, especially now. Cow blood and pus. So, but I think it has something to do with our pores. The opening, and you know, I know it has a lot of effects. People will use it for things like, I don't want to go into it, like antacids or something. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So, and we're all pH balanced differently. Our skin, oils, and our body. We're not. It depends what you are, what you eat. Let's go right back to what we're saying. So, I think it helps to. It's a detoxifier, if that makes sense. But we're not supposed to drink milk, and I'm not giving any advice. Drink all the milk you want, but you should drink your milk off your mom's teat. But that's about it. So, what other animal drinks milk? What other animal drinks milk? Name it. I'll wait. I'll go ahead. Doom, 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 doom. Not coconut milk, you silly rabbits. So, not when they're a child, of course, because of, I don't want to, like I said, uh, but for how long? I'm talking about after, when they're an adult. What other animal species drinks milk? So, just want melatonin. Remember, that's what makes you sleepy. Melanin, that's what they put in our skin. It messes with your, even dairy. Okay, I'm just trying to give it to you straight, Scott. Beat me up, Scotty. You know, I try to put out the facts, man. I'm a fact guy. I like to hover over. We're the only. What other species pays to live on this planet? Right, planet spinning on a ball. Earth, the ruled. Planet is a wanderer. Remember? Hello, I'm a wanderer. I got a wandering brain syndrome. So, what other species is paying to live on this rock? Paying for air, paying for water. We're the most superior species. My left. Yeah, right. The man's nuts. Grab him. Get him out of here. Remember? Spinning on a ball. Yeah, I'm addicted to it. I just was mentioning that we shouldn't really even eat dairy. Moderation is good, Scorch. Moderation is okay. All things in moderation. I'll just tell you that, okay? So I'll just write out the gate, because I don't want to give you a diet. We're not. I want to have the discussion of nutrition and not tell you what to put in your body. It's not what goes in us that defiles us, according to the Most High, but our body is a temple. And we're supposed to try to endure to the end. So we don't want to. You want to give all your money to a doctor in your last days before death, and could have went on vacation and enjoyed your life. So, but absolutely, that's the lazy. Because once they start doing things like that, grated cheese, Nathan, outstanding. There's a whole different animal, and I'm guilty. I don't always do that. I will buy it. Already, and that's a great way to cut out a lot of the things that are even added to eat. We shouldn't be even eating that dairy, if you ask me, just in my opinion. And then go behind it and then put all these, they're they said it doesn't stick together. A lot of these powders and things like that, caking agents, non-caking agents, and things like this that are. We just pay for our own poisoning. I think, like I said, I think the elite, probably just, the top, families that are running this show that have 50% of this rock's wealth, they're just laughing their asses off. I apologize for cursing, but I'm saying, ask somebody you can't learn. We just pay for our own poisoning. They're like, look at this, guys. We don't even have to whack them anymore. They just pay and go to the store and buy box bagged and can flavored poison, corn syrup, and like I said, yellow lake dye number, yeah, dye. So again, all those too, all the polymers, Nathan, outstanding. Thank you, Nate. All the polymers. Your dashboard is one or two polymers away from your Velveeta cheese. I never grew up eating that. Now I'm guilty. I will eat little. I haven't bought it in a while again because I just can't seem to stomach it anymore. My body just, you know, uh, yeah, I don't. I use Tom's or baking soda. Water. So yeah, the toxicity of hydrofluoric silicic acid, fluoride. I worked for again for Culligan. They had like Skull and Bones before they had that. So yeah, there is options out there. So my dad always used. I saw him. He used baking soda, and he drank a lot of coffee and smoked a pack or two of cigarettes, and he had super clean teeth. Nice and you know. But he used, not every time, but probably every second or third time, and he told me that too. And because he made her always, brush your teeth after every meal, all that. You can brush your teeth too much there too. I like to use floss. I'm kind of hooked on the floss. The not the little toothpick floss things, and in between brushing, like that, and keep that, because normally the biggest problems that you have is keep, anything that get between. Um, yeah, that's where I'm guilty too. I think because I still use that Gillette, and aluminum is the onset to Alzheimer's. Yep, and they spray the living piss out of us with it. So it's in everywhere. It's in the soil. It's all over this rock. Everywhere you go, there's nowhere you can't go and find it. So it's just any heavy metals aren't good for your body. So it's hard to get away from it. That's what I'm saying. The best thing you eat good food, yeah, but it's sprayed, and because you're trying to eat vegetables sprayed with fluoridated water, chloridated water. They wear freaking hazmat suits when they grow it, and then they put all the wax on it with the bug juice on it, to make it, and they all look the same. They're genetically modified. How come every apple is the same size? Every pear is the same size? Don't limit what what they put on the grapes. I mean, it's disgusting. You know, um, so cologne. Oh my God, I don't can't do cologne. I can't do smells like that. Oh, I can't. I just can't. Some people you can walk up to them and taste the cologne on them. How do you wear it? You know what I'm saying? How do you wear that cologne when I can walk up to you and taste it on my tongue? And that's people can do whatever they want. I got a brother, an older brother. He wears cologne like in that much. So salt. They have a salt you can use. Um, salt that you put and you use it, and I'm super. I'm an oddity. I'm like I don't even know what the numbers are, but it's pretty staggering the rarity that I don't have a tremendous. We'll just say that amount of hair underneath my arms. I didn't get I have a hairy chest, grow big beard, and hair on my arms and leg or whatever, but I don't have hair under my arms. I have hair, but there's only just a couple or a few of them, and they're so thin that you can't even see them. I have women that get pissed off at me. They're like, "Damn, I got to shave my pits to look like that," But so I've been thinking about getting an armpit tattoo, but so I don't know how that would work for guys. Normally, most guys got a big old, look like the welcome to the jungle, underneath the armpits, look like, Samoan sticking, an afro sticking out from underneath their armpit. How do you get the if you use like a dry, because using salt is a dry, that's what I was should have mentioned why I was saying that, but how would you get that into your, the, so, but anyways, I feel so, been given abundance of that. And I, like I said, a little bit of hard time made fun of it, every once in a while, like, dude, what's wrong with you? Dude, whatever, man. I didn't ask to, Father, we're all different, but it's kind of an oddity. So, but again, I don't know how, I know with a liquid or something like that, or like with the gels and stuff, how a guy could get, how do you get that gel? You get the gel to your armpit, you can get the liquid, I know a woman, they have like a roll on, but they normally shave their, you know, in this modern day world, they shave their pits, and so, but salt is what I've looked at as an alternative. And there's a salt you can use. I'm not sure if it's like Himalayan pink salt or whatever. So, um, but there's another thing, everybody has a different, like you have a different pH, you have a different smell, you have a different body odor. We're all totally different. A lot of that has to do with it too, our pH, if you're acidic, you know, you're going to have a certain scent to you. If you're more alkaline, you're going to have a certain scent to you. That's just the way, it's the way it works. I mean, it's not rocket science. So, um, but diet has a lot to do with what comes out of your pores. We were talking about that. So, um, you know, is that what it is? Yeah. Well, there we go. Good stuff, Nathan. Say, oh, that's not a COVID cough. That was cannabis, huh? Is that what you told people during the COVID? That's what I did. Oh no, that's not COVID. That's cannabis. So, but I just caught what you said there. So, but again, I have a hard time with putting smells like that on my body. I'm more of a I don't like cologne. I use Dove, a non-scented Dove. I don't like to use any kind of scent. With soap and you know I shave my head, so I don't really use shampoo. I'm just don't or did when I was younger, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Scorch, we're all men. That's what I'm saying. Hairy guys, some guys that are super hairy. I mean, that gives a lot super oily, hairy, oily, musky. Man, I'm glad I didn't get that. Some guys got hair like George the Animal Steel. You remember that wrestler? He had a green tongue and eat the turnbuckle. His whole back of his back was hairy. Some guys got the hair all the way down their back. I got hairy chest, whatever, but I don't have, the fur, the carpet, the whole, all down the backs of the arms, the whole man. Oh, so thank you, Father, for not making me, you know, jungle. I've seen some, I'm a veteran and stuff and showered when I was younger, in the military and stuff, and, uh, yeah, a lot of it is. A lot of the stuff they sell is toxic. It's just mostly, thank you for getting back to the bringing it full circle. So the best thing you can do is make your own soap if you could, borax and you know there's different scents you can get if you prefer to have a scent. I'm not saying that like some of these I don't know, they like Bigfoot soap or something. We don't do Bigfoot in here, but I think that's Sam Squatch or Squatch soap or something like that. Some of those man scents they have are kind of a oddity, but I don't smell nothing like that. I don't want to smell like a cedar or tree bark or whatever. I'll go smell like it naturally, whatever, but I don't want that, heavy smell on my body. Well, there you go. Fat, borat fat and lye and, and uh, there you go. I haven't made my own soap. I've been with people before. I've made my own, salves and things like that, oils, but I've never made my own soap. Something I should do. We should have that discussion. Why we're here. It brings it full circle. If you're not going back to the ways of old, man, you're missing the boat. Everything new, everything man made, sort of, in this modern world is toxic. The old ways were the better ways. Making your own soap, growing your own food, so you don't have to worry about chloridated or fluoridated or they've been genetically modified. Why don't oranges have seeds anymore? When was the last time you had an orange that had seeds in it? The ways of the old are the better ways, brothers, sisters. Be a high tech redneck is what I tell people. Use these modern tech, but don't overdo it. You flip it on its head, flip the microwave out the window. Don't throw. Don't. I'm not talking about that, but there's probably some reason to use a microwave. There is. I'm sure they're used for other things than radiating your food, that you can use them for, that have a good application more in like an industrial or something. I'm sure, again, I know people have used, this technology is not new. It's old tech, but like I said, careful with, how much tech you put yourself around. I'm kind of allergic to tech. I'm not a big tech. I don't like tech, uh, old school bus better than new school bus. It's just that simple. Well, don't get me wrong. I had a 73 C50 Chevy with a 366 big block, and those are really oddity when it comes to school bus. You know, how about that old school bus, huh? So no, I like the old school ways because they're tried and they're tested. You know, um, they got lots of fancy stuff on these new school buses, and that's what I'm saying. Just kind of taking what Scorch says and flipping it, like that. But the old school ways are have been tried and tested, guys. That's why they work. Okay, that's why they work. Like putting up store, not this modern. It's always going to be there at the store. Notice store, putting up a store like a store of value makes no sense to me. So things like getting a better rate when you purchase a larger volume. Remember, buy 3 H3 Hummers from the Chevy dealer or whatever GM, and they'll give you a better rate. Buying in volume normally would. Now be careful with that. And a lot of at the stores, you go to the store just because it's in bigger bulk doesn't mean it's a better deal. Now, when did that happen? You guys remember that? When you used to go kind of like the old Costco or the Sam's, or we had this Fart and Smile or the whatever, not Fart and Smile. My bad. It was called Smart and Final. My bad. That's what my dad called it. So it is what it is. I didn't have to say that, but that's what we called it. So, but it's where you bought in bulk. You know what I'm saying? And you had abundance because you had extra, waste not, want not, and then you use that extra to, sometimes to barter, or you'd save it, or you long term put that away. That's what I'm saying. These things are ways of old. Having a freezer is not a normal thing. Like getting a half a cow and going in with your neighbor and buying that. How much better rate on your steak's going to be when you go to the farmer and the farm where it's grown from. It's not this no roller grocery store sprayed with red dye and all kinds of different kinds of bromine, which is a halogen, and all these tenderizers and all this water weight to make it sit on a freaking tampon. And I sold meat for a long time. You know what I'm saying? If you go in and you knew the source, you bought from the Amish, where they didn't use genetically modified field wheat, grains. And if they were going to use grain, a lot of the times you can actually just get grass-fed beef without the grain, because our tongue has become so tolerable to this, whatever, soften it up, whatever way, make it palatable, put it out for the masses and let it roll. It's called no roll, but okay. Anyways, but if you went in with your neighbor on a cow, and that's the better thing too, is having a supply chain of that source where you can source it somewhere when the grocery stores go down. Becoming your own grocery store is the best way. People use 40% of this populace in the United Corporation of the Divided States of American. The populace used to grow their own food, some kind, tomato garden, chicken, some kind of self-reliance. Now less than 1% of the U.S. populace grows their own food. What a weak nation that I live in. So careful. You're going to grow food in rows. People know it. And if things broke down and they took our food away from us, I guarantee you, they could do that for a lot of people, take the food away. That's why I personally have always been like a squirrel. I'm always trying to get a nut. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. Chipmunk, squirrel got the brain the size of a pea. Nobody needs to tell it to put up nuts. So who's nuts now? The man's nuts. Grab him. Get him out of here. He ain't got no store. Put up nothing for the winter. A bird doesn't need to be told to fly south for the winter. Once again, got the brain the size of a pea. Chipmunk, squirrel, doesn't need to be told. It's called instincts. Most people have none. So kind of like that reminds me of that joke my father used to tell me. He said, son, you know what kind of meat, since we were speaking of meat, that priests eat on Sunday? None. Get it? None? All right. Just a joke. So, anyways, freezers, deep freezers, knowing how to pressure can, water glass, that makes your eggs last. I screwed up mine this year. I won't ever do it again. It is. I got chickens that are laying eggs still, so I'll feed these ones to the chickens. I'll have to deal with the whatever I broke an egg inside of the. I just used the wrong jars. I used a smaller. If I had wide mouths, I used the smaller mouth jar. It was my mistake. So probably you should have used some tongs, and I use some. They're fine. It's just the juice has a little smell to it since it's an egg, but it's in there with the like I said, water glassing. I don't know. But anyway, all right, there's a lot of ways. Long term food storage is the way to go. Who cares about anything else other than food and water and a roof over your head? How about that? What else matters other than the word? What's so freaking important? Tools, got to have some good tools. What other than that do you absolutely need? What's on your bucket list that you gotta have, gotta do, gotta put on your And I have crap. Don't look. I got stuff. I'm a collector of weird stuffs, things, oddities, and old things, and whatever. I mean, you know. So, what do you need? You need your own piece of land where you can grow food. Right straight out the gate, you're way ahead of most of the population. Right there. See that? Bam! You could do it in your own windowsill. Grow herbs, cilantro, chives, whatever, radish. You could easily grow a tomato bucket, in a 5-gallon. But there's things you could do if you don't have your own land. I don't want to hear it. I'm just saying. What do you need? What's so important in life that you got to get to that right now? I'm just trying to be real with you. I don't understand what the world needs. I hate this world so much. The spinning on a ball camp, nonsense, Punch the clock, 9 to 5, towers, everybody racing, you know, trying to keep up with the Joneses and pacing. So, what do you need? What's so important? You need food. You need a good water source. Water storage is probably really super important thing to have, don't you think? Even if your well runs dry, well, honey, we had enough water storage to put away tanks, and we put steel copper pipes inside our water. We got years worth of water. Aren't you glad we bought those 5,000-gallon tanks and put them to the side, honey? So you got stuff so you can wash your wet parts there, honey. You know me, I get a little musky after I work too for a day or so, so. Um, so I'm saying, you need a heat source, you need a light source. Why are these people so? What the hell do you need all these things for? And I'm not saying that you can't have collections, things, try to gain some assets to flip things, takes money to make money type of deal. I understand, why people have possessions, but what do people need? What do people, it's like, what's going on right now? Everybody's focusing on this EpiPen Island, stuff that I was talking about for years, right? And that's fine. You need to not be pulling your head out of the gate. At least they're talking about it now. Nobody's going to go to jail over it, but okay. But anyways, the ways of old, pulling yourself out of the system right now is probably one of the best things, that anybody could do for themselves, and becoming their own system, becoming self-reliant. There's no way around that. You cannot talk me out of that. For the future tense, with the state of this union and the way the monetary system is going, the economic, everything, you know what I'm saying? Going back to the ways of old, yep, I heard about that because it's the city water. Now, if he would have lived out of the city, I don't feel bad for that guy after I listened to that, because he lived in the city. That's collected city water. You're within the city limits. If he'd have been out of the city limits, they couldn't have done it to him. Narrow is the way. Broad is the way that leads to hell, to the wide gate. Broadway and the big city lights. So I saw it, and I think it's still a bunch of BS. It's encroaching on, you don't own the freaking space above your head, but I see what they were able to do with that, because they did that in Oregon here, but it's not illegal to catch water if you're out of town, out of the city limits. So he did it, but he did it within the city limits, and that's where he got dinked. So had a nice system, if that would have been sitting outside of the city limits, they couldn't have done a damn thing to him as of now, so far. So like I said, the best thing is to become your own water source too, like that. Put in rain catchment when you get out of the city, and then you can do that. Just like I was saying, back to getting a piece of land. You want to live on some little tiny piece of land in a big old house, or a little tiny house on a big old piece of land? Put your answer in the chat. You want to live on a big old house on a little plot of land so close to your neighbors you can fart and they can smell it, or you vice versa, you can trade. I see your one, like a game of craps, or well, I don't know, whatever card game that is. I see your one and raise you one, you know. Or would you rather live on a big old piece of land, a little house where you could build, maybe on the prairie somewhere, out in the desert, in the woods somewhere, away from people, where you can go outside and naked if you wanted to. And I'm not talking about stripping down and nudity in this here, but somewhere if you wanted to. There's no peeing on off the porch, but if you want to pee off your porch, your neighbor's not going to see you and get complaint that for nudity and exposing yourself. Somewhere you can lay down and hear Father. So I don't know about you, but the ways of old, people used to have bigger pieces of property, and they were self-reliant, and they traded with their neighbors. Remember, what was it? I forget what was. Let me some sugar. I am your neighbor. Remember when the neighbors used to talk to each other? Neighbors don't even talk to each other anymore. Don't eat sugar. I was just saying, you guys. I don't remember what song that was, but kind of reminded me of a little intro to where life used to be like that. You used to go over to your neighbor's house. Oh, we were out of eggs. Can we borrow some eggs? Yeah, we got you. Over here. I'll take a dozen. And we were having a house. No, we only needed one. No, tell your mom to take these. I'll come over and talk to her tomorrow or today. I'm busy, or remember that life? When life was a little more simple. People don't even know their neighbors anymore, brothers and sisters. I've worked in the cities, sold food in the cities, door to door, come knock on your door and sell you thousands of dollars worth of food. I'm not it's like the ice cream man for grown-ups, but I sold you a lot to get you a good deal, not just a little bit. So I went to Schwann's, man, that I was going to sell you a box. I sold you cases of, remember buying a half a cow, I get you a whole lot better deal. I used to be able to get people steaks for under $3 a steak, for this thick, for under $3. Let me show them to you. Hold on, I'll go get them. Go get your checkbook. Go get your credit card. So I was pretty good at it. I'm giving away seafood and chicken and pork today. Boss said I have to give half this truck away for no charge. So if I was just to give you one of these boxes today, would you have somewhere to put that box today? I don't care where you put it. Give it to your neighbor. Give it to your auntie. Put it in the trash. I don't care. I got to just find a home for it. Anytime you take one, I got to give you another one to go with it. So where are you going to put it? No charge for packing freezers. Everything's frozen that I did. I had a PhD in freezerology, so can't get it in there. I'll just give it to you for free. I haven't even seen your freezer yet. I want to hear it. Go get your checkbook. So boom. All right. My bad. See, I was pretty good at doing it. So I didn't make anybody buy anything they didn't want. It was just food. So I don't want to hear it. Wasn't like I was selling a rainbow vacuum. No, not sell you a sweater that you're going to re-gift next year or something like that. So, but anyways, food is important. So, hey, it was much better quality food than anything they were getting from the grocery store. And they bought more just to get a better deal. So I got into it because that's how I bought some. I was like, damn, that's a good way to do it. I like that. And it all came individually packaged and wrapped, everything guaranteed for a whole year for freezer burn. Taste and tenderness. So not everybody comes knocking on your door, but I used to go knocking on people's doors. So either way, like I said, when opportunity comes knocking at your door, do you take it? If the devil came dressed in high heels and lipstick with fishnet stockings on, would you let him in? So, careful. So, hey, it was a good job. Like I said, it was selling people all organic, free range, traceable, trackable Angus, free range chicken, not cage free range chicken, true free range chicken, not these processed, whatever, this nonsense chicken breasts that are, about that big, not this thick. They're like a turkey breast. Gold medallion. I don't eat pork, but gold medallion pork, a lot different. Pork's a lot different. It's not trash fed. It's true slop, like, the end of the crop slop, and all wild caught seafood. Wild caught, not farm raised, none of this not non-tilapia crap, all this disgusting food. So, but that's why I have a higher whatever. I'm a foodie. There's two kinds of people on this rock. Most people eat 3 meals a day to try to stay alive. Some of us here, we're just alive to eat. We're only alive here to eat. So, the rest of it, like I said, I told you, what else do you need? All seems like a bunch of nonsense. So back to what we're saying. Got to have good eats, right? So having a good supply chain, putting good food in your body, knowing where your food comes from, sourcing your food is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I'm not a bad person uh, for doing that. Like I said, I never forced anybody. People paid me to put my meat in their mouth. Good job to have, don't you think? Do you ever have a job where somebody paid you to put your meat in their mouth? Pretty trusting, huh? Oh, it's the wind out there. My bad. So, hey, it was a good job, and I was pretty good at it. So, whatever. Like I said, I like to do cash deals. I never really sold a whole lot. I mean, did credit cards and sometimes, obviously, because I dealt with a lot of large volume, but I normally did a lot of sales. I did probably more than anybody ever with cash because cash is king. So, not cash is clay. Cash is king, but not anymore, is it? So, all right, moving on. So, diet's everything. Having, again, the ways of old, going back and growing your own food is very important. Um, I am working on that myself. Don't think it's something that I'm not trying to do. I mean, I am. I have chickens and I have, um, the source of protein from their eggs, but I want that red meat source out here. I miss raising rabbits. I miss raising, ducks. I want to get some more of the muscovy, the ones that are, those like eating red meat. Uh, more. I want to get, sheep again. Lamb is off the chain. Goat is over the top. You ever eaten boar goat? You ever eat it when raised with good, excellent diet with the proper diet? I live in a place where the number one alfalfa on this whole rock is grown right here in Christmas Valley at Fort Rock, right here in this high desert. So the highest protein, nutrient dense alfalfa anywhere on this whole entire rock, anywhere in the world, anywhere. Does not the Timothy hay is second to none out here. So I can get some access to feed, to feed my animals some top, tier protein and give them nutrient. And then obviously there's supplement too. There's oats. People grow oats out here, and there's ways to get more feed too, because goats, you grow a garden, give them all the entrails, and sheep nibble on a lot of vegetables and stuff as well. So chickens do the same thing. It's you don't waste anything. It's self sustainability, and that's going to be the future. If not, the future is going to be whatever. Eat your city grid and do your whatever. I am so over cities. And I'm not. It's okay. I was born in the concrete jungle. People can live whatever way they want. I am not, but the dependency on the system is going to bite them in the what, and not having a supply chain. For example, you have these snowmageddon water events, lights go out, all these type of things, whatever hurricane, and then the stores, they clear out. All these people think it's going to be there for 3 days, just in time delivery system. No, it's normally gone within the first day, you know, and people are very ill prepared, and that's not going to, you can't go spend the cash at the store there because they can't keep up with their inventory. So your cash doesn't buy you anything. That's where you need to have that local supply chain, farmer, Amish guy you get your chickens from, your whatever. Maybe you trade Brussels sprouts with him because you can't grow and he grows Brussels sprouts, or you, whatever, lemon, cucumber, and you go back to your local supply chain and say, hey, I need a half a cow. I need a half a lamb. I need a half a sheep. I need a half a goat. I need a whole. I need, hey, that one time I gave you some of those silver dollars. Will you take some silver dollars this time? Oh, yeah, okay. And you can't even get food at the store right now because everything's shut down. So you need to shut down this major supply chain and go back to the ways of old. It's gonna bite you in the tail if you don't. Sooner or later, you're going to be eating food printed by the mile, whatever, Soylent Green. You don't think it's happening, but it already is. They would do. Fast food is not good. We know what they put in the fast food, and good food is not fast. So uh, that's what I'm saying. Trading is going to be the ways of old. You better get your skill set on how to barter. Go back to the ways. We've seen that right now. I'll bring that up in the silver market. Right now, you could probably sell some silver, but what happens when you can't go to your local coin shop anymore? Good. I always told you, you think that going and buying with fiat currency, paper, wipe your toilet paper currency to trade them for actual physical metal that's never gone asset to zero in the last no, it hasn't, 6 or 7 thousand years, 7,000, 8,000, it has not gone to zero. And only since what, 71, when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard, has it now been backed by zeros and ones, nothing, toilet paper, nothing. Never has that happened. It's always been back. So it's going to go back to what it was. And that, what I'm saying, people are lost. You're going to go into their new system and be tokenized. Life will go on. There's not going to be no end of the world. The world already ended as we knew it back at the start of the new age, with the reset of the Vidco, the whole stand on the X, go inside, flatten the curve, Mr. Warp Speed with the greatest jab ever. Yeah, they're still trying to warp speed you, aren't they? So Operation Warp Speed. So they've got them all. They're about ready to do their Operation, project, right? It's not Operation, right? Project or Operation. Blue Book. So it's Project Blue Book is what it is. Remember, Vomit's going to erase them to do the announcement. Now Mr. Warp Speed wants that on his accolades. That, now, hey, we have got gods in the sky so they can release their tech. This new world's coming whether you like it or not. 60% of China is already automated. It's already here in China. So, yeah. So, no, it's Blue Book. It's not Blue Beam. So, it's Project Blue Book, not Operation Blue Beam. So, right? So, I think I have that right. Yeah, Project Blue Book. The Operation Blue Beam came out of the 90s. Go look, it's much older than that. And like I said, it's about the tech, about gravitics and ether technology and Hall current technology, free energy, stuff they don't want us to have, stuff they whack people for doing. Come out with something that, bucks this oil, the oil, like I said, polymers, poly, just reminded me of plastic, and, it's all this oil supporting the oil system, which, has kept this, whole beast system is the oil. It's the plastic man, the plastic credit card. They spray it. You know how much plastic's in your system right now? I'm a plastic man. You know me, I'm a young OG, I'm a plastic man. We all are. It says classic. I like using cash or whatever. Remember, cash. Remember, money is gold and silver. It's always been gold and silver. Silver's been money a lot longer than, it was the first mention in scripture. I told you in the last 7,000, 8,000 years, it's never gone to zero. It's been a lot more money than gold. We used to be on a bimetallic standard if you knew your historical record. Huh. There's green there, and hadn't heard that. Interesting. So, but if you don't go back to the ways of old, you're going to be stuck in this new system. I'm telling you. Just I've gotten so many things correct, and I don't get everything correct, and I don't. It's not like, I told you so, and yeah, I'm right, or yeah, I'm wrong. It's just a matter of these things are cycles. Remember, nothing new under the sun. We got to go back to the original title of what I said. You know what I'm saying? So these things are cycles, and that's what we're in right now. And the cycle of old has always been silver's always been money and always will have that value. The idea of trading your silver for a piece of paper and then trading it back for paper sucks. I've had to do it one time. I've never done it before. I've always gotten it stolen from me. It is what it is. Don't tell anybody where your silver or your stash is at, and find a safe, maybe somewhere dirt safe or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's Project Nanook. That's that's Project Nanook, Scorch. So you know what I'm saying? Operation High Jump, Operation now Warp Speed, all this same thing. Project Paperclip during World War II, or Operation Paperclip, excuse me. You know, what is the one that I heard of recently? Again, that's the one I was researching that they got. I don't know. It has to do with the tech again. It's one of these tech ones that they're doing right now. It's an old, but it's a new. So, yeah. Fishbowl, that's another one that has to do with obviously this hashtag the ice wall, hashtag welcome to outer space, welcome to outside the ice wall. So, space nonsense. So, but anyways, the cat's up on the roof. We're coming up to, if you've heard recently on the television on their world stage, that it sounds like Warp Speed's going to announce that alien, which is a word, that there's aliens, gods in the sky, and that we're the bad guy. Watch, that they're here, and we need to. Dabu covered this last night, and I think he's really. I don't do his whole jinn thing and none of that, but I've already told you to discern everything over there at Dabu. He's got great content, but that you need to give up your Second Amendment because you're not being shalom, you're not being peaceful. That's why he warned us: do not think that I came to bring peace. Peace is Antichrist. Peace is their space daddy. Give up your Second Amendment and be peaceful. Oh, you're being a bad human because you don't want it. You want to be violent. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant, it takes something of that. And I've already told you that they're always headed to that, especially in this country. You cannot overthrow this country without disarming. Remember, during World War II, Japanese commander said, hey, you can't go to the mainland. Behind every blade of grass, there lies an American with a gun. So, and look how many school, programmed, shootings there's been where they're all, Sandy Hoax, a big pre-programmed. Everybody always knows the shooter's on some kind of psychotropic, and they've been watching them the whole time. How many that always drives a big scare, and then the price of weapon sales go through the roof every time they have one of these events. So how many have been sold since World War II? There's a lot more people with Second Amendment items running around now than World War II. So the only way they're going to be able to do it is what I said. I've already been telling you what this is all about. If you could create an event where people are freaked out, and like Dabu said, how is that going to do anything? All your stockpile of your ammunition and Second Amendment items, they can do nothing to these bots, these AI, doing backflips and doing, double backflips now, doing all kinds of, not on, hey, was it just a few years ago they were riding bicycles on a string or something, like I said, and now they've got them, this has always been here. This is not new technology. This technology has been around since time and millennia. You know what I'm saying? It's all about electricity. And that is not something that's new. Electricity is old. Since the beginning of time, this is all spoken into existence. How do you think this was all created? Do you know what the toroidal field is? Do you know what the Torah is? Like positive and negative, like algebra. If you take something from here, you got to give it back over here. Have any idea how any of this might actually, this is all, in the beginning was the word, correct? In the beginning. How did was this created? This was all spoken into existence, correct? Yeah, it's electric. It's literally vibration. It's frequency. It's proton, electron, neutron, dark, light, positive, negative, electric. Basics. I'm not trying to overdo it with you. I don't have all the secrets to the universe. 369 universe. Get out of here. So, no, the good guys only win in the end, Scorch. The good guys only win in the end. This is Satan's dominion, Satan's playground, his little ball camp where he's got people spinning and warped. So the adversary. That's no. We in the end, Revelation, at the final trump, that's where the wheat are separated from the chaff. So the good guy always ends up on the short end of the stick. Remember, good guys finish last. So nice guys, good guys. So I'm just trying to be real with you, you know. So that's just the way it works. Hey, why do you think wealthy people that have a lot of assets and a lot of whatever you call money and possessions, you think they're nice people? They're not very, very nice people. You ever been around somebody who's super wealthy? A super wealthy, I've been around wealth. I got family that's all has money coming out there. You know what? They don't, like I said, they don't struggle. They work, but they don't have to. They just work to make more money, just like anybody who's got a lot of money. They just want more money. So we'll work till the day they die. Won't be able to, like I said, it is what it is. So, but they're not nice people. So you don't get, the word nice means to be stupid, just so you know. It does. Translation's everything, right? No, transliteration, literal definition, define what that word means. So they're not nice people, are they? So, but wealth to me is not, like we were talking about, is not having a big old house in some city, living so close to my neighbor that I can't tap the wife and you know without them calling the cops because they're thinking they're here stuff banging around over there, and she's screaming no, and she really means yes. But you know how that works. But see what I'm saying? I don't. That's not the ideal living situation. If that's what you think is your situation, go for it. But I, future tense can see all the cities burning like to ashes. I don't care how much steel, like melting 3 steel buildings with 2 airplanes. How about that? They've got the tech to do this, whether you understand where we're at or not. 3 steel buildings with 2 airplanes don't add up to me. I'm pretty good at doing math, so it's kind of my, I was a reconstructionist, and we'll just keep it simple. Just we don't get all complicated and make it all like that. It doesn't add up. 3 steel buildings, 2 airplanes, CIA headquarters, Tower 7, Building 7. You know what I'm saying? Come on, grow up. Simple math that don't add up. So it makes no sense to me. Never has. But people will fall for whatever they're fed. They like to do it by the number. So people normally run away when you start doing math. Seriously. And Father does everything by the number. He doesn't miss, he is the final 7th shofar. The number of maturity is 7 to be matured. I mean, you don't even need, just count on your hands and your toes with that. So, I mean, that's not complicated, right? He does not make a mistake. He is the equator. He will pour out a just measure when he returns, like a weight of measurement, a talent, or a grain. So let's get back to where you put your treasure. Either way, what I'm saying to you again is that where I future tense again see is that people don't have any independence from the system, and the system is going to take them to the new level, just like the COVIDCO or the DEVOC or whatever DEVOC out of here, ever COVID backwards was, um, I didn't participate in that. I still had world effects from it, just like anybody else. Well, I think it's affected my life tremendously. I think it will always have effects on this flesh until the day I die. I don't think but I will never regret and have zero regrets for the moments that I spent protesting, standing in opposition against something that I knew that was, an encroachment on people's rights. So, but I'm a United States Army veteran. You can't train me from a young age to protect and stand up and speak up. And, there's time to put your head down. Heroes live to fight another day. You don't take a bullet in the head, you duck. But, sometimes less is more, but there is a time to speak up, meek, not weak. So I don't have any regrets. And so, again, my treasure is after I die. So, but while I'm here, I need to be a good steward of this flesh, and I need to try to show others how this is done. be an example, be a light to others in a dark place. We live in a very dark place, you know. Again, when 1% of the populace does not grow their food, that's, that is a problem. But people don't see that as an issue. They don't think that, they think that the sun is always going to be up and 70 and sunny, and, it's always going to be, you know, bubbles and butterflies and rainbows. I'm not sure what world these people live in. Spinning on a ball. Remember, they think they live on a planet. Planet is a word. It means wander. There's no such thing as a planet. People don't live on planets. It's not what a planet is, but that's okay. People think they live on planet Earth is the rule. Earth is the rule. Earth's not below your feet. It's not what Earth is. So I can't help these people. They think they're spinning on planet Earth. So you got to just, at this point in time, like I said, the best thing you could do is become independent of the system. Don't feed it. Don't feed the beast. Stop feeding the beast system and become your own system. Become your own supply chain. Stop feeding the system. Become your own system. And I'm going to keep pushing that no matter how many times I come in here. Homesteading and bringing this back to grassroots is going to be going back to the ways of old. And if not, then you're just one of these future tense people, and I don't have anything to do with that. I don't like that. I don't like where we're headed, and it's just going to get continuously more automated. More drones, more bots, more Google, more X, more Twitter, more Groks, whatever you want to call it. More AI, advanced, not artificial. There is no such thing as artificial intelligence. So your intelligence level is about the intelligence of a fly. Get away from me. If you think there's aliens, alien is a word. Planet is a word. These are words. And now you've given them actual physical matter, time, place, and space. You can get the out of my space. Thanks for your time. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. He said you can't serve two masters. That's the word Lord. It means master. And he says you can't serve two. So take your alien tongue somewhere else. Seriously, I don't like this. They're about ready to possibly do this reveal. What I've been talking about all along. I'm getting so fed up with this modern day society. This is the distraction from the EpiPen Island now. I think that's what they're going to do. It's getting too deep. It's getting in too deep. Remember that band, In Too Deep? So American Bandstand, people are starting to stand up to this nonsense, this PDF files, and talking about it a lot. It's not going away. It's out in the light. They're dumped all these files on everybody, Yeah, exactly. PDF files is what they're all. PDF files are all in on it. That's the best thing you can do is, as I said, get away from this system. All these system is that you support that. That's what you're supporting. So anybody who supports the donkey or the elephant or thinking that their vote is going to count the electoral college much, just, I didn't say not look at it, but do not partake in unfruitful works of darkness. You'll know them by their fruit. Children of darkness are those who work in light. So that's why I said, be a light. Do the things in the ways that have always worked. Go back to a more organic lifestyle. Who cares about owning all these stupid things that don't advance you in a future where your food supply and chain is more important than anything else in the world? Your relationship with the Father, your relationship with the Messiah should come first and probably make you do that anyway. So I'm not trying to make anybody do that. I'm just trying to help show you how to be a light. I'm not perfect at doing it, not in any way, shape, or form, but I have got my struggles, but at least I've given it mass attempt, and I do live away from, a society that's dependent. I'm not dependent on a system. I am my system. I am going to continue to try to use the system until the system, I don't want the system anymore. Then I'll take 1 foot out of the system. I'm 1 foot out of the system right now, right? I'll take the other foot out of the system. But if you don't have 1 foot out of the system, when the new system comes, you're going into the new system. So that's how it works. And if you're not your own system and you don't have your own supply chain, you will be gobbled up in the new system, and it's not going to be the end of the world. It's just going to be a massive amount of tech shoved in your face. Tech and technology. And then probably the people who do not, go along with the program won't be able to use the tech. you won't be able to partake, kind of like the Vidco. Oh, if you don't have the stamp, you can't go into the football stadium, or the jab, or whatever. Remember the sticker or whatever it was, Well, it never really ended. That hasn't ended. That's still in effect. They could put us right back under that microscope, put everybody under the glass, whatever, stand on the X, go inside, flatten the curve. Overnight, they could do that. People think that ended. It didn't end. Rome never died. The head and eagle coin. Come on now. That's what I'm saying. So preparedness is a lifestyle. You can't force people into this lifestyle. They have to want to do it. But, being a light to others and talking about this and giving people just, some confidence, most people just talk about it. It's just talk. It is what it is. I have to thank my son Elijah for telling me that, about this interweb. It's more entertainment. People come in here to entertain themselves. I remember when I was young, I did that on the internet. Sure. Go interrupt chats and do things like that and be silly and just, whatever. It's called web TV. Remember that? All that, whatever. But, take this and turn it on its head. Use this B system and use it for good. And that's what I am hoping that this, whatever is left behind me, whatever has been left into the cloud, whatever these people are smoking, I'm not sure, but I know that I'm not going to leave this rock without making sure that I wasn't the silent majority. I didn't go down not speaking up about the evil that I saw around me and make an attempt to try to not partake in it and show people you don't have to have a revolution. You can have an evolution where you evolve and you go around the system, become your own system. Not go round and round and round and round and round. That's a revolution, like a carnival or a circus wheel. You're on a hamster. They got you on a wheel, punching the clock 9 to 5, doing this rat race. So, again, I'm still trying to stay in the system until the very last day. I'm not going to pull my foot out of the system until I'm 100% prepared, and I'm not. And I'm a person that's been preparing for decades, and I still don't feel prepared enough. So, and I have not better, but a much, larger plan than most people, because I prepare for many things, not just one single thing, And so if you're going to, well, that's what it is. That's what do you think he's telling us? Do not partake. Be in it, but be not of it. Oh, that means you're over here, Nathan. Correct? Be in it, but be not of it. Oh, there's two sides. There's the broad way and there's the narrow way. Be in it, but be not of it. I don't see how people don't. That's him too. That is the Messiah. That is the church. Come out of the church. Come out of the physical. Come out of the world. Stop doing what the world is doing. Go back. Christ was a man of very few possessions. He just shared the gospel. He fed them the meat with the gospel. I mean, he fed fish and bread, but be more Christ-like. Go back to the ways of old. Go to what worked back then. And I guarantee you'll have much more success. It's not going to come without resistance. Not going to come without loins girded in my service. Not going to come without work. You're going to have to sweat. There's going to be blood. We're not under blood ritual, but there's going to be, a suffering. It's going to burn. It's going to hurt, but it will be a rewarding. It's like having a homestead. I like that. I miss having more where I have to get up no matter what. I got animals. I can't let them sit out there. They need fed. They need watered. They're dependent on it. Their bodies need that. They've been in a cold, birds out all night. They need that warmth in the bird, they depend on that food to keep them warm. They eat a lot more food in the winter months than they do in the summer months. They require a lot more just to keep, stay alive. So, and like I said, I still got birds laying eggs for me. I'm still getting golden butt nuggets. So it's worth it to me to, have that discipline, have that no matter what, this system depends on me, the system that I made. I am my own system, but that's what I'm saying. When you have that, it feels I am my own power company, right? I am the power. I feel empowered. Even stronger I'll feel once I actually put power on this property now. That I have both, that I have in a source where I can put freeze dryers here. So when I create abundance, that I don't waste not, want not, that I can actually create abundance and send, the people, the followers that came over from TikTok, the people, the regular subscribers here at YouTube, send them extra eggs, organic eggs grown right out of this in this valley, fed with all organic feed, because I have good feed out here that I've been feeding them, and then I plan on making my food even better for them. I want to grow extra, you know, I want to grow goats. I want to raise and breed goats, and I want to breed goats. So I have too many goats that I have to slaughter them, and and butcher them. Well, I don't have to slaughter them; I can butcher them, and freeze dry them, so that I have extra red meat. So I don't ever have to worry about having another red meat source. Well, as long as it doesn't get taken from me, that I have that source up and going, and then I have so much of abundance of it that I can give it away. It says, feed them the meat, eat of the meat. So why would I not try to give you guys meat? It doesn't mean that meat, it means the gospel, but why not? They used to mean literal meat and food and vegetables, and that's what tithing was. So I I I don't care if anybody doesn't tithe to me. I'm always tied to the ministry. I serve the ministry. So I don't care if anybody ties to the ministry. They don't need to tie to me. They're tithing to the ministry. I have nothing going in my life right now. You know what I have in my life, what's going on right now. If you've been following this, for any length of time, I serve the word. I have to serve, Father, and not stand against the beast, which has caused me to have issues, but I'm not going to stop serving the ministry. And so as long as I'm, here, I'm going to work towards this, and I want to try to be successful at it. So I tied to the ministry. The ministry will give back later. That's how it works for me. To me, in my mind, as the pastor of this, ministry, the ministry is supposed to help and help other people. So if I can't help people and nobody will come here to the physical ministry, I can still send food. I can still send tide. I can still come here. That's the idea too of getting on the grid, producing better content. Absolutely. Having a place to do that, having that power source. I'm looking forward to this, as it's so crazy how we turn sometimes in life. That's never really, I mean, I knew I would, because I bought a power box eventually, but I didn't think it would come this way. Now I know why. I need to do this for the ministry. It will give the ministry purpose. It would give me a reason that I know I can create abundance. I would get more chickens if I knew that I had a freeze dryer out here, because I would freeze dry every egg that I could possibly freeze dry. And it takes a lot of eggs to do a whole batch, but that's okay. You can get a lot of eggs in the summer months, So things like I said, red meat. That's one thing that I think I lack. It's not that I don't have red meat. I just don't have a continual, near unlimited source of red meat. So I want that for myself. So because don't eat chicken unless I raise it myself. I don't eat pork. I don't eat seafood. I only pretty much eat red meat. I won't eat turkey ever again. So maybe if I raised it, I would eat it, but I'm never going to eat turkey ever again. So I'm just not. I had a bad run in with it. Never say never, but sometimes when I turn things off like a light switch, I don't ever turn them off or on. I don't go back to them. So again, I'm looking forward to extending out the ability of the ministry, and nobody has to come here. And I can get people to come here. I can bring some people here. Yeah, that's the hard part too. That's why I need to get a couple more people here, because you never know, pastor might end up get thrown in a cage or something. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I got to finally my probation officer contact me and said, did I have contact with the police department? And I haven't had any contact with the police department. So I don't know what they would be contacting. It's the one in town. So nothing in town. I ain't done anything in town except for shop or whatever, pay for all my, nothing out of the ordinary. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but like I said, I'm not, anything could happen to me, and I would like to have hopefully maybe a couple more people here in the future. That way I wouldn't have to have somebody. I had to do that too. And I lost a couple birds when I did that. And then the transition and the move, and lost a couple more, and, just lost till I was gone or whatever. So anyways, I'm going to continue to try to build this homestead out, and I haven't done it yet, but I will, because again, I have opened up kind of the line here at the ministry to, if somebody wants to come out here and be a part of this, spring is going to be here before you know it. This would be the best time to do it. So, um, I'm starting to like I said, have a seen past this. Uh, whatever, here in a year or two or three, that this is going to happen. Like I said, this is going to happen. I'm going to hopefully here in the next week or two, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, drop the hammer on this, build out on this property. So the only thing I'm lacking right now is the building. I'm going to see. I'm going to talk with them. I have to have a meeting. You sit down. You have a meeting with them. You talk about your plans. You got to draw up actual plans if you're going to build. And I'm gonna see maybe if this semi trailer can be built out, maybe left the way it is without having to add to it, because maybe grandfathered in or what, since it's been here for so many years or whatever, figure it out. If not, then I'll figure out another building. I will. I'm gonna stay, like I said, my mind is not costly, because it's just, like I said, it's for the ministry, but my mind will figure out the way to um, we're talking about $15,000. That's not something that I can't. I don't have the assets. I sold the acreage to pay off this land so that I can donate it to the ministry. Um, like I said, I've had expenses and things like that. So um, just I still have the expense of another land payment. I did sell 25, and I still have 40. I have this 20 owned. I did own 45, but still had a payment on 20. So now I sold the other acreage and paid this off, and now I just have the one last payment. So, but I plan on making that property work too. I don't want that property sitting there by itself. Uh, Again, I got a hip um, camper that wants to come out here, and I don't want them to come to this property because it's just too many buildings here. Hip camp is something people go out in the middle of kind of nowhere. So I'm going to use that as the hip camp property, and have people go over there and start putting some time and effort into over that property too. I just got to make sure I take it easy and don't go too hard, because I have a compression fracture on my L3 vertebrae, and did it too hard by not having an extra hand out here. So I can't I can't lollygag and not do this. So I'm going to have to do this whether I like it or not. Kind of force myself to bring somebody out here and to be a hand out here, because there's just too much going, and I want to continue to be able to move forward here. And I don't like sitting and getting stagnant, and not getting anything done, because then I feel like I'm just wasting, good time that could be used wisely. There's always something that can be done out here. That's a beautiful thing about having property and having having access to your own land and things like that. Is what you do is what you build. It's one thing to pay somebody else's mortgage, to rent, and if you have your own house, then but some people are so stuck behind uh, such big house payments and things like that. I probably won't need no more than maybe 15 to 20,000 for the building. you know but I was looking at this too at this point. I was talking again with um, kind of gaming this out in my head. I don't think I could build a building. I have this building. Maybe I can outfit this building for that price. So I've been considering, and if they'll allow me. I just don't know if they'll allow me to use this building, but they allow shipping containers and some build outs. So that's why I need to go ahead and get the ball rolling on this, so that I can figure out if they're going to let me use this building or not. But the idea that I had behind that was that I didn't want to put myself out there until I actually had enough funds to say, okay, well, I can, if I can't do this, then here's the other, here I have to show in good faith that I have another building. But I can use another, like I said, I can use the ideas that I have. It gives me 6 months, to be complete. So um, it shouldn't take that long to actually set a building. If it was something like I'm planning on doing, I'm not, or not planning, preparing of doing, is that I think it would just be much more reasonably priced for cost of price to go get the material, all the costs that it talks, it would just be much more efficient. And then that keeps this just as open as a cabin rental too for the future tents. This, instead of outfitting this, is that, I can find that other building, and I couldn't build it for that. There's no way to build a building for $15,000 to $20,000. Not with the plumbing, not with the electric, not with the, I've built several houses in my life, and I know the cost is it's not cheap. There's just cost. It adds up. Every little thing is a cost. So, you've got a foundation to set, whether you're pouring in a slab or you're using TGI flooring, or, all your hardware that you need. And it just, I don't want to go through the whole thing, the whole list, because you have framing, interior walls, exterior walls, roof, the whole deal. It just all adds up pretty quickly, and so I have material. That's the neat thing, is I have a lot of material. So if I could find something, I could use the material that I have to outfit and change the appearance of a building. That's, again, I'm thinking more like an office or a single wide is what I've been looking for. So that's kind of been the goal out here, is to get that building on here so that we can set up a freeze dry, a room that has a consistent source and a power source where I can set up the freeze dryer. And then that gives the ability to have purpose out here. I will feel, again, like, hey, what is this ministry all about? Well, this ministry is about tithing the gospel. We are an online ministry, but we have a physical location. And although we don't have people from the ministry here as of now, I have solar. It's my solar. That's how I make all my power. I've been making my own power for 5 years now. My turbine came down, but I got a good 4 years out of that turbine or whatever. I could probably order some fan blades for it, but it came down a long ways. So I think it's just time to probably purchase a new one, and that's probably what I'll do. Again, I'll get that one going again. I'll probably buy some parts for it, and not, if it works, it works, but I don't, as a constant source power for, but the whole idea too is, just because I put something on the grid, I don't want to waste power. I'm only going to use it for the sources that are, like I said, I still plan on having solar. Every building out here, with this building, would stay outfitted with solar. You know what I'm saying? Just the building that's hooked up to the grid is the only one that'll be, only be one building out here probably hooked up to the grid. That's kind of, that is the plan for now. You know what I'm saying? Or what I'm preparing for. I don't want to plan for anything. Father will crush my plans. But I'm going to have to get some more wood going in the wood stove here. What is that all about, puppy? So, but either way, like I said, I have a little bit of time to accomplish some of this stuff. Right now, I can't do any of the excavation, although I'd love to be doing it, and I very well may. I might start my excavation. Some of it, I went out and looked at it. What are you doing? The other day, and what's going on there, Grill? So just kind of stepped off where the power pole would be and looked at where the building would need to be set, and kind of future tense. It's neat to kind of go out there and say, oh, hey, maybe down in the future, one day here, they'll set a power source, and I have the box and I have the pole, and, I think I need to buy conduit. It needs to be plastic, I think PVC, and not the metal, which I thought it had to be galvanized, but we'll see. That's why I said I need to go get these plans from this, the planning commission, and sit down and work with them and make it happen. Just make it happen. It's not like I said, I have some investments, KNG. Okay, cool. Right on. So, gonna make this happen. Gonna put power on this property for this ministry, and it'll allow others to come here without having to worry about people coming a substantial amount of distance and them not being able to. Would you stop it? You want to go outside or something? What is there's snow out there. We can't be digging on it. we can't be digging out there right now. Like I said, we got to wait here to do the excavation. Uh, how much did it cost, like a ballpark, to lay down the copper pipes, or did use? I haven't done it yet, Scorch. I haven't done this yet. That's what I'm saying. I haven't done this yet. I've been putting together some of the pieces to do this, and I really have almost everything I need for the electric, other than probably because you buy the wire from them. You have to buy the wire. Um, but I know that total, like I said, I mean, I have my box, um, but you don't use copper. You have to use PVC, I think is what you have to use now, is a PVC, 3-inch PVC pipe. So PVC is not awful expensive. It has to be down 2 feet. PVC 2 feet. You know, I mean, it's electric. It's not, pipe. But I, I I remember looking at it, but it was probably 8 years ago that I looked at it, and it said conduit. But maybe they changed it now. Maybe you still can use conduit. So, but you get 150 feet. I know the electrical cost for this is going to be $2,500 is the check that I'll have to write to Mid-State Electric. So anybody want to make a donation for the power? There you go. You can donate a $2,500 and you'll pay for the power out here. Just throwing it out there. I just put it out there. So anyways, but I'll see what it is. And that is what it costs to buy their wire. And I'm actually including a little bit of extra footage. I am, because I've got a 400 amp breaker. It was, I think the gentleman up the road said he gave them a check for 23 or 22.75 or something like that. And that was what it cost to have them pull the wire through the PVC conduit. You buy their wire. You have to buy their wire. So that's included in that money. You already have your power pole set up. You have your breaker box on there. You have your line running down, and then they pull that string. You have to have your string set up and run a string through that, so that when they get there, they hook up to that string. They pull their wire through it. They put the can on the pole. They hook up your meter, and then bam, you're done. You've got a power source right there. So, like I said, exciting to think that, we could take and create a constant power source enough to put a freeze dryer out here. That's the main reason, more than anything, is the freeze dryer. The freeze dryer allows us to have the ability to create abundance and not waste it. That way I can have extra eggs and never throw any eggs away. I could say, okay, well, I'll raise another goat or two. I'll keep another, there's a couple kids. I'll keep a couple more of these, and I'll just put these in the freeze dryer. As a matter of fact, we'll raise 2 more, and we'll send 2 more out to the ministry. We'll send 3 more out to the ministry, So I have somebody who's going to help me, Nathan, with the excavation. I'll probably try to dig as much as I can possibly dig by hand, though, because I still have to do septic and a tank. But I have somebody, that's what I'm saying. If I could get this, I think, almost enough to cover that. It's $4,000 to put in the septic. It's $4,000 to include the inspections. There's $1,250 just in inspection fees, because you pay $550 on the front side, or maybe it's like $1,300, and then you pay another $750 when they bury your tank. So I'm not sure what size of my tank, because I need to see. I mean, it's a single dwelling home, so I think the tank is 1,500 gallon, something like that. 1,500, 2,500, 1,500 gallon tank, septic variable. I think he said he's paid like $1,100-1,800, $2,000 for the tank here locally at the local place here. He sourced everything locally. He said he really didn't think it was that much better deal to go into a town, into Bend, and go try to get a truck, get a trailer, get a gas, he's just still sourced. He said some things was actually cheaper, like the peanut lateral lines, the leach lines, he said were actually cheaper here in my little town. So yeah, you got to pay fuel costs, your time, you know what I'm saying? That's all costs, you know, even if you save a buck or three, is it worth it? So hopefully I'll be able to source most of this. The only thing I'm going to look is for a tank. And I already did. I looked on the internet the other day and I didn't see a tank. I didn't see a deal on a tank. I've seen them before, but not right now, you know. And right now, my money that I have needs to go towards, I have to pay for all the inspections up front. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to pay for electric, you have to pay for the inspection. If you're going to pay for the sewer, you're going to have to pay for the inspection. If you're going to pay to have the home set, you know, or what, you know, you have to pay for that inspection, your conditional use, and you have to pay to get your address. So it's probably at least $2,000 straight out the gate. I'm gonna have to give it, you know, whatever cash. I plan on trying to pay, you know, whatever with whatever I can. Don't do checks or whatever, but pay with cash. So um, that's what I'm going to do. And when I do that, the only thing I'm really lacking right now, like I said, in my eyes, is the building. If they'll let me use this building, you know what I'm saying? Uh, if they'll let me use it, you know what I'm saying? Um, this building, I will put, you know, there's already a shower in here, an on-demand hot water heater. I'll take the composting toilet out. I'll get a flushing toilet or run the septic. You know what I'm saying? I'll figure out how to, you know, make that work. If they'll let me use this, I can make this work. You know, I might be able to get it with $10,000. I think I can outfit this building from top to bottom, inspection, totally the way they want it. So that would save me if they'd let me use this building. But I don't think they're going to let me use this building. And it's not going to break my heart, because if I could purchase another building for another five or maybe another $10,000, it gives me the ability to rent this building out as an overnight cabin rental. And that was the plan. This is just a guest house is what it was originally built, just to be a guest cabin. That's why I didn't build it all, you know, kind of the way I built it. Know that if they had enough logs in here in the fireplace, they'd keep it warm. I didn't build it all, you know, good sense like I built the Rusty Dragons, all built. That thing's going to stay so stinking warm, you don't burn no wood in there. You're not. I just I overdid it, over insulated it. It's like it is. It's like a good sense home. It's gonna be a really easy way to keep, you know, that's going to be so much easier to keep that, you know, cabin warm if somebody had to stay out here for an extended period of time. So it's okay. You can keep this cabin warm, but the wood stove burns out. You know, the fire doesn't last all night. You got to get up. Um, I've actually purchased another two new wood stoves. That's where I spent a good chunk of money. I probably shouldn't have done that, whatever. But you know, I got wood stoves for this wood. You know, if I knew these has, you know, these are not brand new wood stoves, but these are the ones you can put in a house. And not that you can't. They have stickers on the back and the inspection from the year or whatever. And they're triple burner and whatever, super efficient. I like these arrows. I like what I have in here. The problem that I have with this building is that it's just not insulated. If I insulated it, I wouldn't have any problem with this wood stove in here. It'd be just fine. They just didn't insulate the building. So um, the neighbor said he seems to think that the county will let me use this building. They don't care how much insulation I have, you know. So, but and he thinks that they may grandfather it over. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I will use this building, and then later down the road, my plans is to tear it. You know, tear the face off of it and do 100% insulation inside and out. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I know code. You know, I know code. Exterior walls, 6. You know, interior walls for all this. But because this is a structure, because this is yeah, you can get power without it, because you need the power to build. I just got to go show them good faith that I have a building out here. You know what I'm saying? That I have a building to set out here or build. And I don't want to build a building. I can't build a building for $15,000. Nathan, you seem to have some skill set from what you're saying. You've done it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. A little different cost of, you know, I can't build anything for $15,000. Not complete. You know what I'm saying? Not complete. I just can't. And I'm the type of guy I can source. If they let me use repurposed equipment, you know, or repurposed materials and things like that, I could surely cut costs. But I couldn't. Not for $15,000. I couldn't even go get one of those bully barns, a shell for that price. And those bully barns or she sheds or whatever, man caves or whatever, they're 2x4 exterior, and they will not pass those. The county out here, there's a couple of people who tried to buy those, and the county said, no, it has to be 2x6 exterior walls if it's framed with 2x4. But this is a this is a semi trailer, and it is 4 walls. It has a roof. This is kind of like a shipping container. So I think I can maybe, after talking with the neighbor again and went back and wrote some costs down and stuff, I can get them to maybe pass this building. And if I can, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to worry about, I will go ahead and pass the building, put the electric in it. But you know what I'm saying? I would have to move this building out from what I was. You have to have a pad. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a pad. You have to have compaction. You have to have all this. Thing's never moved. It's been sitting here for 7 years. The tires are still sitting, like they're only sunk like that much. And this thing is a heavy building. There's a lot of wood in here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not as heavy as if it was full of, but there's a lot of material on the inside. It hasn't gone anywhere. But I know that no matter what, I'm going to have to roll this building out and roll it back in. You know what I'm saying? And put a pad down. I don't have to put concrete down. I just have to have, whatever. I don't know how many inches of compaction or whatever out here because the ground's pretty solid. I don't have to put a slab down. I don't want to pour a slab. That's a lot of money to do. You know what I'm saying? When I can get away with, 1 or 2, loads of gravel, and I don't need a slab underneath this. It hasn't gone anywhere now. So I think I can pour right over the top of it. So I can pull this semi out and pull it back in, and put, I don't know how much compaction. He said he's got a whacker, whatever vibrator. That's going to be cost though. I got to hire somebody to come hook up to it. I got to get everything ready in here, to move, whatever. It's not like, move it out, pull it away, right? Pull it out, pay him, build my pad, and then pay him to pull it back in. That's another cost. So that's a cost, I'm saying. I got to consider that cost because I really don't have that cost considered in all my cost yet, but I know what the cost would be to do that roughly, what I'm saying. I'm probably looking at, gravel wise, 2 loads of gravel. He said I could get away with just one. One's $300, but we'll say 2, $600. It probably cost me about $600 maybe moving. So maybe if I a little bit got a better rate, $1,000, another 1,000 to build the pad. Maybe, but I know somebody who can move it. The guy who moved it here, I'll have to hire him. He's got an older unit. It's a snub nose, whatever, Freightliner, whatever, but he'll hook up to it. You know what I'm saying? He'll hook up to it. We probably could with a tractor, you know what I'm saying? A front loader or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a semi trailer. So it's something like that could be done. And I'm not opposed to that. You know what I'm saying, Nathan? I'm not opposed to if somebody else can do it. I'll hire if they want to come out here with a front loader, as long as they don't bounce it around much. It's just going straight out. I just prepare a spot to go straight out. I'm gonna have to take the fence down, but just pull it straight out, straight out. Because from where this is sitting, it's not that far away from, how far I can go back here. So I'm looking at for the septic and the electric, all my costs, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody can really do much. I'm saying we're pulling it straight out, just straight out. That's it. Just straight out, literally 20 yards, and I'll have to pay him for the windshield time to come here and the windshield time back. That's how you work. I have CDL. I know how that works. So pay for their time. Not a big deal. Put the gravel down, maybe $600, maybe $500 to pay him, $250 to come out here. I'll probably have to pay him at least $250, $300 to come out here. Minimum is what I would think. And the same thing, hook up to it, push it back in, give him 3 bills, for 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour of his time, something like that. Because I got to pay for his windshield time and back and gas. So maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less. I think I paid a little bit more, but I hauled this one from, the other side. The other one came from another distance, but again, I think I could get away with, I seriously don't want to cut corners, but I don't think I'm going to spend any more than 10,000 to put the electric in and put the septic in. That's not a well. The well is where you pick up a huge cost too. And one of the biggest costs that people pay for out here is excavation. Excavation costs. You probably $20,000 or $30,000 in excavation. If you had to have somebody come out here. Yeah, well, like I said, I'll probably have to move it out to build the pad. You know what I'm saying? I got to move this building out to build the pad. You got to, if I'm going to put it in this spot, or I could just build another pad and move it over there. Maybe that's what I'll do. You know what I'm saying? Just move it over a little bit. I never thought about that. Why not just build another pad and just have it moved once? Just move it over. To hell with it. I'd have to work around it or whatever, like I said, drive around or whatever, but there we go. Build the pad right in front of this thing, right there. Pull it out right there. Pull it actually in front of the road. Pull it out so that I can still get through here. The idea is this is already all fenced in. I already have all this fenced in. So build more fencing. Oh, well. So just attach some more fencing to this, more work, but less work. I don't know. I'd have to take down the fence either way to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? To pull this out of here. Eventually, it's just going to go to the east, if I did that. But since this is already all fenced in, the idea I would figure to pull it out, pull it back in and refence it. But there ain't no reason I couldn't pull it over there. You know what I'm saying? And just fence in that area too. I got plenty of room out here. Plenty of room. I don't have any of this gravel or anything like that. It's not like I've got some parking spot up here, gravel. I had brought some gravel up front. But yeah, like I said, either way, I think, I can pull this off. The thing that's going to be a little bit of an issue for me is if they say, no, I can't use this building. Then I really need to be careful and figure out how to, come up with a building. I need to come up with a building that I can set on this property that the county will allow me to have it here. Hell, I don't even know if you think about it, if they'll let you do a shipping container, I might just buy a shipping container, because I don't think they have to put 2x6 exterior walls in a shipping container. I think they just let them use that thinner insulation, because you can stack those things. So that's an option that I never thought about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, oh yeah. That build, that's the excavation on the pad. I'll do all by myself. I'll site all that. I'll level that, and do all that by myself. I'll do the pad. I'll build the pad by myself, and I could build it. You can do it all by yourself. You can out here, as long as you have enough compaction. And he said he has a vibrate compactor, a whacker or whatever, Vavo or whatever they are, Vaco, or I forget the name of that darn company. But yeah, I think that, damn, this eye is killing me. That's going to be my big hang up for now, but I have time. I have 6 months, you know what I'm saying? It gives me 2 or 3 months to get a building out here, to figure out how to come up with that building. Like I said, maybe somebody will help make a donation. Like I said, I had somebody donate the other day, a small amount, but hey, it is what it is. We'll see. It's not for me. It's for the ministry. Eventually, like I said, I want all of this. I've already figured it out. I'm going to use the Bowens property as my property. I have to get it paid off, but that's where I'm going to live. I'm not going to live on this property. This is the ministry's property. So it's not that I couldn't have a building here that I couldn't live on. You know what I'm saying? But it'll give me a place to live until I can, get a place over there. But that is where I want my home to be. You know what I'm saying? Not that I don't love this property. I absolutely adore this property. I really do. I love where it's at. The times that I've spent here, it's a great property. But the idea of having this here is for the ministry. So when it's donated and turned over to the ministry, that will actually kind of give me more, purpose over there. Because really all I want over there is my house. I don't want I don't want the farm over there. I can have a farm and some farm animals over there, but I want the farm to be here. The homestead to be here. It's only 3 miles. I can get to it from a back road, a dirt road, or I can get to it from the main road. So it's not super far from here either. I mean, it's almost eye shot. If there wasn't a hill right there, you'd probably be able to see it if it was flat, but there's not. It's not all flat out here. So um, that's the idea with that. So if I can, I might be able to find somebody and say, hey, I'm a pastor. This is what I'm doing. Would you donate a building? You know, so we'll see. I'm going to start scouting some things out and put an ad on the local, uh, community page here. If anybody has a 78 or newer, or whatever, single wide manufactured home, I know a company that can move it for me. The guy that's local that can move the other one. I'd really like to just get that classroom though. I mean, I don't want to have to, if somebody's willing to donate something, I will fix it up. I am not above taking something that is literally pretty scary looking and start from scratch, and cleaning it up and repurposing it. And then you guys get to watch the build too, which would be pretty awesome. And, but that classroom is a great start. It is a beautiful building. It's up to code. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I'd have to install is a bathroom and, and a kitchen, you know what I'm saying? And the bathroom with a shower and a toilet, but that's plumbing is not rocket science. That's something that could be done within, a week. I could probably plumb in the sink in the shower and a sink in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Uh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if I could just, you got it exactly, Nathan. If I could just find something with good bones, like I said, I think the neighbor paid like 3 grand for his, 3 grand. God, that would help so much if Father would help me find something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's old. It's an 80. I think he said it's an 80, but it's workable. I would dig. I asked him if he ever found something, newer than that. In the meantime, before, because he's got some time to finish putting his in. That I would buy it from him. As I'll buy that from you, but I don't think it's for sale. You know what I'm saying? I don't. It's not for sale. I know he's not. I don't. I threw it out there because I'm that type of guy, but I don't need to. I need to find my own. He was very given abundance to be given that at that price, and it's like I said, the inside of it is a wreck. It's mouse infested and rat infested, and but um, it's got good bones, like Nathan said. It's got good bones, and that's all I need is something to build off of because I have other material. I like to do remodeling, like things like that. I'd probably give it, that Western theme, bring in the Western theme. Kind of this is the way I do it. I kind of like that older theme, but more like the Rusty Dragon, you know. So I'm hoping something will come up. Like I said, maybe somebody will have something out here in the valley, and I won't have to pull it from somewhere else, and that will help me with cost or whatever, and I can swing it. So, like I said, here this next week, I think I'm gonna figure out if I need to make a trip down to the planning commission down there. It's a couple hour drive down from here, but they're gonna be worth it, and get this ball rolling here, and see if we can get this ministry up on the grid and get it to produce for the ministry. I know it's a small ministry; it's not huge, but there's a lot more people actually in this ministry. There isn't a lot of small churches. Remember, small churches are 50 people, maybe. You know, I know we don't always have 50 people show up in a live stream anymore, but there's 50, 100, 200, 300 of you guys, more than that come back on a regular basis throughout the stream, whether I stream in the first part of the day or midday or after the day, or in the evening. That we definitely have more people. If I do later, there's always a lot more people on later in the day. Absolutely. I'm not young. I just don't stay up that late anymore. So um there's a big following that I haven't done any and hardly any live streams late in the day. But like I said, it is enough here to serve purpose for me. Well, I feel like this is not just some shot in the dark or piss in the wind here. This ministry has purpose, and that's what the ministry will do. It will produce through having this electric out here. It'll produce abundance again, and where we don't waste anything. And I'm super excited about that. I'm a resourceful minimalist, and so I like the idea of to have abundance and not waste it. And then if we have extras, and then we can send that out. I've said it a lot, but I don't get a lot of comments, and I know, but I don't know why. Wouldn't you want to have some organic, food grown from your ministry, or they sent you somewhere and something showed up in the mail, you know, um, that's exciting to me to think that that might be a possibility in the near future. You know, I'd like to, before the end of this year, be sending out, you know, care packages to the ministry, to our regular followers. So, um, because I do think I have the ability myself and maybe a couple other people, which I'll help bring in. I'm going to do that. We'll do that. And to create abundance and create extras. So we're not just surviving out here, we're thriving and going, wow, what are we going to do with all these extras? No worries, Nathan. No worries. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to do it no matter if nobody shows up or not. But I like the idea of this ministry serving and having the purpose, not just feeding people the gospel when we come in here. I don't ever have to do any of this. Isn't that cool that I could just sit here and just do the gospel? Because that's all I have to do to tithe. You know what I'm saying? I'm tithing to you. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people don't tithe this ministry, and that's fine. The tithe to this ministry, yes, they do, is time. Financial is not part of being a part of this ministry. That's just something if somebody has the extra or the abundance. I have incentive, I have drive, I have motivation to try to see this ministry grow. Not in the fashion like big numbers, just see, the ministry can grow with the people we have. If nobody ever comes to the ministry and don't get one more follower, the ones that are here stick and are able to use the actual, again, a physical facility. And I feel as if, again, that I can get going locally here. I could tie to this small community that I live in, and there would be some people that would come out here. You know what I'm saying? There would be some people that would come out here, and I could actually hold a physical ministry. And what I actually started thinking about, what I was thinking about doing here, is regiment myself too, regiment myself to do this maybe Tuesday, Friday and Sunday, do 3 days a week at a certain time. That way you'll know I'll be here. And that way, like I said, and then limit myself, because I'll probably getting a lot more busy here too. As we get closer to spring, I won't have as much time, and there's snow on the ground right now. So um, I'm thinking, maybe try to set some times. I've thought about this before, and then force myself to do that. But if I had a studio, you know what I'm saying? If I had a regular, place where I knew I can get good solid internet, get in there, get it done, have a laptop, knock that thing out, and then I could get back to work out here. Some of the things that I can produce channel, it's not like I couldn't go live on the fly, like that. Say, okay, hey, we're building something out here, you know, and still come out. But then I can come in and stay focused, have an idea, concept, or whatever, or talk about tithing, or talk about, you know, maybe we'll talk about the Magi, or just we'll pick a topic, you know what I'm saying? And then, so I was just throwing it out there. I want to get a little bit more. Um, I mean, I like the ability of not having to do anything at any time, but, I need to give to the ministry. It's what I do here. So maybe again, we can get some more regular followers coming in here if they know what time I'm coming in and having, so we'll work at that. Like I said, too, that probably will happen once I get a studio set up, and I'll set that studio up inside of the building. That's where the studio will be set up. It's like where I film from now is inside of the Rusty Cowboy. So I go outside, I show you things out, go and film it inside building and things like that before in the past. But again, that's been the focus out here now, is figure out how to get a building. I mean, right now I need to, like I said, I don't want to spend the money, but I need to spend the money and get these permits and get this ball rolling and literally force myself. I don't like putting myself through something like that, but I do good under pressure. I don't like, you know, being over pressured, but I generally can deal with it okay. I mean, I've been through a pretty tough couple of years these last couple of years. I mean, and I'm not perfect in any way. I'm not saying that I am, but I generally do well under pressure. So if I put myself kind of under a timeline, it will force myself to, you know, um, make it happen. So I'll feel better when I can get an answer from the planning commission on whether I can make this building work or if I have to purchase another building. Either way, I'll know something at that point, and then I can work towards that. Yeah, there you go. See what I'm saying, Jason? So a food-based ministry. Thank you so much. You see what I'm saying then, Jason? It is. We're supposed to eat of the meat. It's the gospel was more important because it's an online ministry, but a ministry that ties back food. If you guys produce for this ministry and give tithes, and I'll do it whether you give a dime or not, it will give back to you. So it's not like the ministry. I want the ministry to give back. Now I know I don't bring tithe. Brother Jim Brown brings in more than $1 million a year, every single year at Grace and Truth Ministries. And I haven't even looked. I think we have a higher subscriber count than he does. And I don't care. He gets probably more subscribers. We just had 200 or 300 subscribers dump off the other day, but I don't care about that. I care about for the ones that are here, the people who come back on a regular basis. For all the people who just subscribe to the channel and don't come back and don't visit anymore, I don't even care if they're here. They're not here on a regular basis. That's fine. That's not the ministry. The ministry is the people who come back and frequent this once a month, once a week. Some people come in here if I'm streaming almost every time. There are people who return. That is the base. That is the ministry. That is the people that I want to send this food to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just going to pick a random thing and just send food to nobody. I'm going to send the people who are here contributing to the ministry. So remember, if you're a part of the ministry, you don't have to contribute any food. You don't have to contribute any money. The meat you contribute is your good comments. So I will take care through the list of people and I'll figure it out. I know who my regulars are in here. We have conversations. We hear each other on a regular basis. We're like family. You know what I'm saying? So those are the people that I think will send the food to. And, like I said, if there's any extra abundance, I might send it to randomness locally here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, cool. That's what I want to do is share that with everybody else. Everybody else needs to learn how to have abundance. Abundance, not survive. Survive is tough. I've survived day in and day out, but thrive, thrive. When everybody else is just barely hanging on by a string, you're helping people, lifting people up by that string. That's what this ministry will one day. I know it will. Hard work does pay off. And if it doesn't, at least I tried. At least I knew that it had, in my eyes, it gives me purpose. Like I said, remember, I don't care about physical things. I'm over the physical. I want experience now. I want experience in my life. So this is a good experience for me. It's hard work, but it is experience. It gives me the experience to know that I serve purpose here. It's giving me drive. It's given me, like I said, it serves the ministry, serves purpose. I feel like I get up daily and have a purpose to be here. I've already done a lot of things in my life. And if I didn't do anything else, I don't feel like I didn't do enough or I didn't get to do. I don't have some bucket list like I need to do this before I die. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this. I am not forced to do this. This will organically come together in Father's time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited. He has given me a substantial jump already. Remember, the land is paid off. There is buildings here. They might pass the Rusty Dragon. I don't know. I can go over there and say, if you won't pass this, this is a stick built. Will you pass that one? Yeah, we'll pass this one. Okay, fine. And we'll figure it out, like I said. And if not, then I'll figure out how to come up with the funding for the building. I was able to secure the funding by selling the other land that I had, obviously that I own, to pay this off. Now, I don't own any more land other than this, which I plan on giving away. But that's okay. I have another piece of land I have payments on. I will have to pay on that one for a long time. But I'll put all the money into the ministry before I ever put a single, other than just a regular land payment that doesn't really pay much on interest, if any, on the that I still pay on, because my focus right now is the ministry. I could die. That doesn't serve any purpose. I die. I don't want to die. Until Father's ready, the ministry will still serve purpose, especially if it is a ministry. Land is paid, buildings paid, electric's here, it's all paid off, and it's in the name of the ministry. It can't be taxed or taken, and then they can serve for generations after I'm gone. That would be amazing. Well, what did you create in your life? Well, I did a lot of things. I got to do so many things, but what really in my life that gave it purpose is that before I died, I was able to with the body and their help, by being the body, was able to create a ministry through Father's creator, make a ministry, and it have purpose and serve after I'm gone. You know, the ministry will serve purpose. People will be able to come here. It could be a physical location with multiple, buildings that could be used to live in, rent, whatever. Somebody will take the reins, I'm sure, before I pass. That would be nice. I need to get a few more people around me, obviously, but Father, all in Father's time. He doesn't make mistakes. So thank you. I appreciate the support. Like I said, it makes me feel like when I get up in life, um, I'm struggling every day, not having my son and not my daughter and not knowing where they're at. And they were supposed to come and live on that other property, that the one that I'm going to go ahead and take, because I don't think they're here anymore. I don't know if they're here, but I don't know. But this gives me like I said, it gives my life um, a daily, an ability to say, hey, this has worth. This has value. This isn't a worthless life. I'm not just sitting out here in the middle of the desert, and if nobody comes out here, um, fine. At least I tried. I know that what I'm doing is not in vain. So I appreciate you being a part of that. I really do. Uh, Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna. What time is it? 2 o'clock. Oh, let's see. We got a message here. Um, oh, it's Cash App tax document from Cash App. But give me a minute. I'm gonna get up here, go outside, water the bushes. I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna throw some wood on the fire. I brought wood inside, but my fire is almost. I'll show you. She's almost. There's no fire. There's no flame in there. So we need to get some more wood in the wood stove, and I'll be back with you guys in a few minutes. All right, thank you. I'm getting some lunch going here. Kind of a late lunch, but some Thai food here. Make some Thai food. Got the power going. Checked on the ladies out there. Puppy sitting right here next to the dad. So, all right. Well, again, wanted to come in and share and have a discussion. Not doing much here today out here at the ministry. Just a little chilly outside. Would you stop it? Would you stop? Would you stop it? He's just trying to hang out with the dad. No kisses. No kisses. Anyways, appreciate you hanging out. Just thought ground's a little hard to be trying to put those fence boards in and get that done because I actually sink them down a couple inches down on the ground in the front there. So it's a little tough to do last time, and we didn't have snow the last time I was doing it. So I take a pause on that. We'll get back at it. The weather, we're supposed to get like two more days of the 30s here. And then it's supposed to get back up into the 50s. So I'll be get back at it when it warms up here a little bit. Like I said, it's been a little cold. It's been, I don't know what's happening. Oh yeah, we're there. We're there. Hopefully it won't be horrible or terrible. Turn that off. All right, thanks for hanging out. We got some pad thai. Pad thai. See if it's any good. It's not my recipe. Ooh, she's looking pretty hot. Pretty steamy. Not too bad. Well, it look like YouTube shuffling nobody in here. Shadow ban. That's all right. No worries. Give me a minute to eat here or three. You like Thai food? My favorite's Pad See Ew. Pad Thai used to be my favorite, but Pad See Ew is my favorite now. The beef and the broccoli. Beef and broccoli with the rice noodles. The wide rice noodles. Probably not the best thing, but whatever. I had it for a minute, so I'm going to eat it. All right. So where do you see the future going? Where do you see the future of this world affairs? I see another huge event coming. You can't put all that military buildup in Iran and not take action. So we're going to draft American women to war. I think Iran is going to be a long war, not just a short, And I thought we went in there and already took out all their power. Didn't we go take B-2 bombers and get rid of all that already? So why are we over there still messing with them? Closing the Strait of Hormuz. There we go. If that happens, there's that event that's going to be a huge event. That'll affect everybody, kind of like the Bidco. Well, it will. So things are getting pretty hairy out there. All right, we all done? All right. Well, they just kicked everybody out of here. They want nobody to know. All right. We'll end this one. Pastor Revelation, Pastor Apocalypse. Whoa.